What's up, everybody out there? How are you doing? Welcome back to another episode of Peppy's Point of View. I'm your favorite host, your favorite R&B historian, your favorite music critic, Peppy. And as you know, the month of February is Black History Month, or some of you all out there are probably trying to call it Black Heritage Month. And I decided I wanted to celebrate it by looking up a list of top Black female albums of all times, okay? That's what I started out doing. But over here, I go with the flow. And the next thing I know, I turned around and there was a diva, and there was a diva, and there's a diva, another diva, 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 diva. Divas start popping up all over the place once I started, going down this list. And of course, it's all about a feel over here with me. So, I was picking and choosing what albums I wanted to hear in what order, right? So that's another thing. And so, as I said, I turned around and I'm like, okay, well, this diva popped up. I looked around and I said, there's Mickey Howard. She's on Spike Lee's Malcolm X movie, right? I was watching it and I saw Mickey Howard popped up. I was like, Mickey sings Billy. So I was like, let me look at that album, listen to that album. And I did then and did commentary on it, right? And so that's the same with the other divas that was popping up as well. Andrea Martin, she popped up all of a sudden. I was like, oh my gosh, let me cover her. So it is what it is. And I'm sure I get around to, listening to the other divas that are on that list. There's quite a few of them over there, and some of those albums I have not heard. But anyway, today, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about Nicci Gilbert. Yes, I've been wanting to listen to this album, finish listening to this album since last year. For those of you who, look, see my post on my community tab, then you know that Nicci Gilbert's name popped up last year. And I started listening to the album, I just didn't finish. And so today I said, you know what? I want to go and finish Nicci Gilbert's album. And that's what I did. I listened to her album today. Get Nicci Gilbert on the phone. Yes, get Nicci Gilbert on the phone and let her know that, we're discussing her. She's my guest over here on Peppy's Point of View. This one is going to be a little touchy. I have to say, it is going to be a little bit touchy. But it is what it is. Oh, see, I like how things flow. It is what it is. That's the last track on the album that I just listened to. It is what it is. And you know what, Nicci? It is what it is, isn't it, love? But get her on the phone. I think she needs to hear what I have to say. I really do think so. We know that Nicci can, be Nicci. Allegedly. I said allegedly. What do I mean by that? Well, let's just say she has no problem probably saying what's on her mind or what have you. But I think Nicci needs to hear what I have to say. Really, this is not about clout chasing. This is me as a person. It's a person now. This is me maybe giving advice. I am a counselor by profession. But people always, will come to me and ask me my advice about things. And well, I don't know. I probably have some advice that she probably said I didn't ask you your opinion, but over here this is Peppy's point of view. But I really do think she would be willing to hear what I have to say. And when I'm going to go with the flow, I was going to do like a little bit of a background information on Nicci, but I'm just going to go with the flow. And the flow says, just start where you need to start. Nicci, you have a song on your album. It's track 13, and it says Down With This. And as I was listening to the song, and I like I said, I go with the flow. You said something towards the end of that song, Nicci, and I want you to hear it again. You said you can yell, you can scream, you can tear my things, but you never get the best of me. I'm going to repeat that, Nicci. Track 13. Towards the end of that track, you said you can yell, you can scream, you can tear my things, but you never get the best of me. And so that's where I am with this. Okay. And like I said, it's going to be a tad bit touchy. Of course, we're talking about the music. It's always about the music. But yeah, it's what it is. Let me start out by saying this. And this is my opinion. And my mother told me when I was growing up, she said, baby, opinions are like buttholes. But she didn't say that. She said a-holes, but she said the word. And she was like, and everybody has one. So these are about opinions. Okay. These are opinions, but I'm going to give some advice. When Brownstone first started out, ladies and gentlemen, when I saw Brownstone, I heard them. And the track, If You Love Me, I was definitely like, wow. Like, I knew that if there was a group, and you guys know over here, I love two artists. Like, I love them. And that would be the Funky Divas of Soul in Vogue and Angela Winbush. Okay, are my favorites. All right. Always. Always have been, always will be. But when I saw Brownstone, I was like, whoa, these ladies, okay. I always thought the group Jade. I always thought the group Jade. Don't walk away, Jade. That group would could give In Vogue a run for their money. And really, when Brownstone came along, I was like, ooh, I don't know In Vogue. I don't know. But when Brownstone came out, we were really feeling these ladies, and very quickly, I don't think they released their second single. I don't think so. Maybe they did release their second single. And before you know it, you look up and a diva has left the building. One of the divas left, and I was like, oh, okay. I was looking up. I kind of thought it was kind of, fishy that, the reason why this particular member left. And I would scratch my head, raise my eyebrow, like, yeah, right. Like, that's really the reason why she left the group. But anyway. Then it kind of got out just a little bit. It kind of got out that, well, there was some diva-tudes. They had some attitudes in this group. And it looks as if maybe people were pointing the finger towards Nicci Gilbert. Okay. Seems like the group gets together again. They get their stuff together, so on and so forth. They have another member in the group. It's what it is. I was like, oh, okay. And they kept moving for the most part. Then the group disbanded. You look up, and all of a sudden you see Nicci, and I'm only on my end what I have observed. Okay. So you look up, and the next thing you know, you see R&B Divas. I love R&B Divas, the show, the franchise. And you see Nicci has appeared again. I'm going somewhere. I'm hitting the hot parts of this, okay? And you see these ladies go through what I knew what was going to happen, because that's what happens in reality television. Okay. It's just what it is, or in television, but especially reality television. For those of you who have some age on you, then what is the first one, the MTV show? I can't think of it. Real Life, something Real Life MTV. Well, I can't think of it. But anyway, Tammy Roman. When they started out with the MTV reality show, and I kind of knew then, based off what happened to that show, The Real World. That's it. The Real World. I knew from that moment on what it would be with reality television. So then we get to a place in R&B Divas where it seems like these ladies were at odds, and I'm talking about the show that Nicci Gilbert was on. And I have to admit, it's my all-time favorite scene in R&B Divas. I have to admit, it's my favorite one when Nicci Gilbert and Selena Johnson was going back and forth. I was like, oh my gosh, like that to me, I don't know if that was an act or not. I really and truly don't know. But for Selena Johnson to get up and to say to Nicci Gilbert, there is a special place in you know where, Hell, for you and what you have done to these women and how you done stirred up strife or whatever she was saying. I'm paraphrasing now, and all of that stuff. And they went back and forth with each other, so on and so forth. Now, I know, just from, a little bit of what I've seen and what I've heard. Selena Johnson can be a little quite, gangster herself. You know what I mean? Like, she pulls, she rolls with the punches too. And so when I saw that episode, I was like, oh my gosh, like what's going on here? I don't know why, but based off listening to, well, now based off the experience that the first member, the original member of Brownstone, when she left and she was talking about diva twos, right? Attitudes. And then I go over here and I'm looking, I'm like, okay, is this really true? Is this really Nicci Gilbert's character? It's like, is this really Nicci? And then I remember a scene in on the show. Who was that? I think it was y'all. It's been a while. I haven't seen these shows in a while, but I think it was Big Jim, Big Jim Wright. I think that was working with he was working with Nicci on something, or he was in an episode, a particular segment of an episode, and it was rough. And I remember Nicci saying something about I have Grammys. I remember she saying that, like, I am a songwriter, uh, and so on and so forth, and I have Grammys. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I mean what it was about. But I remember her saying she has Grammy awards, and I think Big Jim was trying to get her to do something. I don't know what he was trying to do, get her to write a certain way or sing a particular song. I think Nicci was like, no, no, I'm not having it, and I guess in Big Jim's defense, and he's no longer with us. May he rest in peace, Big Jim. Uh, and it just seems like it was just kind of difficult for him to get through to Nicci. Then the next thing I know, I think it was Gordon Chambers. You guys, Gordon Chambers was, pretty big thing, back in the day. He's, responsible for, Anita Baker's I Apologize and other songs. And of course with Nicci Gilbert as well. And so there you have it, so when he shows up, I mean, Nicci face just lights up, and of course he, the reason why is because she worked with him on the first album, If You Love Me. He co-wrote that song with them. So anyway, so she lights up, so on and so forth. I cannot quite remember the outcome of that, but I do think I recall it was either Gordon or Big Jim. One of them said that they're never, I don't know if he was mentioning it to Nicci or he was talking to the ladies in general, but something about they will never get to a particular place because they have not learned how to evolve or don't know how to evolve or go with the times or something like that. But it was more on a creative end. That's where I'm going. It was more about creativity. So I thought about that. I'm thinking about uh the Brownstone lady leaving. I'm thinking about the Selena uh, incident. I'm thinking about what Big Jim said to her and him trying to motivate her. he got Gordon to come onto the show to kind of just give her like a little pep talk. And then I'm thinking about all of the things that she's going through now, you know, with, the lawsuits that she's filing, because, she's claiming that some people have taken some things from her, you know. And here I am. One thing you're going to discover about me, one thing you should know about me, two things. I would never put a person down. I never kick a person when a person is down. And two, I would never try to pull a person down when they're up. Counseling is my profession, is what I do. But as I said, people will, have often come to me for advice. I've given them the advice. And believe it or not, they'll come back to me and they say, you know what? I took your advice and it worked. So mine is with the best of intentions. It is. Whew. So what I want to say right now when I think about this, and I'm not necessarily saying Nicci is the problem. I know a lot of people probably going like, wait a minute, he's pointing a finger at Nicci. He said Nicci is the problem. Nicci is the problem. No, that's not what I'm saying, but I am talking about what I have seen or observed, on the show. And it's television, people. As Tammy Rahman said, if you didn't say it, or if you didn't say it, or if you didn't do it, then you wouldn't have given them anything to, edit in a particular way. So now it appears, and I've seen snippets of some of Nicci's YouTube channel, and it looks as if she, have gotten the ladies over time to come in and to speak on their part about what was going on and what was happening, so on and so forth. Then it appears that she is talking about the division, how everything was divided, so on and so forth. I'm going somewhere, ladies and gentlemen. Between her and how things was taken from her, how she was kind of pushed to the side, and all of those things. Ladies and gentlemen, it's one thing to be a person who is difficult to get along with. Okay? It's one thing. It's one thing to get, as I said, to interact with a person who's difficult to get along with, but it's a whole nother thing taking something from anyone. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I can see Nicci being a diva. I can. I can see Nicci Gilbert being a diva. But I can see all divas being divas. Do you see where I'm going with this? I can see, she said that I have Grammys. What are you talking about? I understand what you're saying, but I have Grammys. I was on Michael Jackson's record company, record label. I was a part of a hit making group. What are you talking about? Like, I respect your opinion and everything like that. And this is me just throwing stuff out. You know how I do it, man. I can just throw stuff out. I respect your opinion. I respect everything that you're talking about, so on and so forth. But I am Nicci Gilbert. Do you see where I'm going? And sometimes, even in the middle of all of that, you voicing your opinion, you letting the people know who you are, what you've done, so on and so forth. How dare you? How dare you do that? People can have that kind of mind frame, like, who are you talking to, too? Because I'm this, that, and the other, and the third. And so you get this back and forth from people, and people want to, put you in your place. And people want to use you. And people want to cause division. Now, I'm not going to say, and this is me, because, if Nicci Gilbert is or was an executive of that show, if that was her show, and she was an executive over there, uh, for the show, then I would like to think that she made some decisions too, as far as how some of the divas on that show was going to probably be seen and heard. I'm just going to assume that, right? Because she's an executive. Now, that was one thing. Or that is one thing. Another thing is when I found out that Faith Evans was going to be on the show or was a part of the show, I really was looking forward to seeing Faith Evans. I look up, she's nowhere to be found. I was like, oh gosh, what is this about? Why am I going down this road? I don't know, but I feel like I have to go here. I don't know why. Um, and then you look up and you realize that these are these ladies' opportunities, right? It's their opportunity. And when I found out that the ladies over at the show we're talking about this album, doing this album, so on and so forth, and then to look around and these ladies they don't have a Grammy nomination for this album, and the album is Grammy nominated, and one diva in particular, Faith Evans gets the Grammy nomination. It's her album. Everybody think they Grammy nominated, and so on and so forth. I said, "Oh Lord, have mercy." Do you see where I'm going? So you can't deny the details of all of this. I'm going somewhere. I'm going somewhere. You can't deny the details of any of these things. It's just what they are. So as I'm listening to Nicci's album, Grown Folks Music, I was like, I don't know if I was like, maybe this title is not the right title. Maybe it should be called a grown woman or grown women music. You know what I'm saying? Because now what I would say it's time to be a grown woman. It's time to be a grown woman in that, listen, we all make mistakes, right or wrong, right or wrong, right or wrong, right or wrong, right or wrong. It doesn't matter. This here is not, like I said, this is not about kicking someone when they're down, pulling someone down when they're up. Nope, it's none of that. You're gonna miss the point. If you think that that's what this is, and we're talking about people and we're doing pointing the back and forth. No, I don't operate like that. I never have. I don't think I ever have any intentions of doing that. My thing is definitely this. If you were a diva in Brownstone and the lady in the group decided to leave because you know how things can get when a group gets big and all of a sudden, you got these record companies coming in, so on I mean executives coming in, and you know what? They'll pin you guys, that they'll put you together just to split you apart, and then they'll say, oh no, you're the breakout artist. They start whispering in your ears, and this one said this one, and this one is that one, and they just doing all kinds of things, right? Let's say that's happened. Let's say you, Nicci, as an executive of R&B Divas, hey, it's a show. This is what it is. We got to get the people to watch the show. Let's do a little bit of this and see what happens. Let's do a little bit of that and see what's happened, so on and so forth. And then you have to understand you got some people behind the scenes probably trying to navigate you through this, because I am willing to believe that if you are an executive of this show, Nicci, and you're calling some shots as well, but you're also a cast member of this show, which means since you're a cast member of this show, you got some executives behind your back trying to make you look like a particular person too, as a cast member, not an executive, but as a cast member. So now that's the, oh Lord, oh see, I don't know where I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. And maybe that's the reason why nobody is pinning pointing their finger at Faith Evans. Now that I think about it, because Faith Evans get the Grammy nomination, and that was it. You don't see her anymore. But I got a feeling now that I think about it. Wow, see, I never know where I'm going. I got a feeling now that I think about it. I think the reason why Nicci has all of these punches thrown at her the way she has is because you are a cast member. Probably if you stayed in the executive seat, you probably would have had all the issues that you had. It's a possibility. I'm just throwing it out there now. I'm not saying that it's true. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just looking, kind of get a feel for the moving parts. And the moving part says cast member, executive. because they got to make you have a story too, Nicci. And everybody are divas, and everybody is ranked in this thing, and there are pulls and tugs, there are shifts and all kinds of things that occur. And then you're dealing with people who, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter if they record went number 90 on the R&B charts. You see what I'm saying? Now forget 90 number 99 on the R&B charts. If they're on the show, they're on the show. It doesn't matter. They're on the show, they're on the show. And so everybody has pull, trying to get pulled, ranked, trying to get ranked, getting a storyline, trying to give checks, trying to, next level their careers. And maybe the mistake was being a cast member. Maybe hey, I'm an executive. I'm just gonna stay an executive. I'm gonna wear this executive hat, and I'm not gonna try to be a cast member. I'm just not trying to do this thing. You see what I'm saying? I might show up just a little bit here and there, maybe one episode or whatever, but just to constantly have my face out there, nope. I'm not doing that. And maybe that's the reason why you don't see Faith in the mix of this, like you see everybody else, because you are a cast member. I don't know if I watched the entire season that season, but I will say, same thing with Kelly Price. Now that I think about it, because Kelly Price was the same way. And Kelly Price made a statement once before, and I thought about it, and I said, well, maybe that is true. Maybe that is true. Kelly Price made a statement, and she said, and it was her with the little sharp thing that was in her hand. I can't say what it was. But when she, something about her shoes, and she had a sharp object in her hands, allegedly. And it was Kelly Price made the comment, there is no way, there's just no way for me to be looked at as this kind of person, or to be seen as this kind of person. I would have had to been that kind of person, and people would have said those things about me, period. I've worked with too many people. I've done I've done a lot of things, and there's nowhere in my reputation or even my character. Well, because character and reputation are two different things, but there's nowhere in my character, nowhere in my reputation, with all the people I work with, would say that I would become aggressive towards anyone like that. Like, it would have already been out like that. And so when I was listening to this album, oh my gosh, it's a great album. Oh my gosh, you guys, if you haven't heard this album, please get it. Please, 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 please. It's the baby. And that's what I'm talking about today. And so, just so you guys can understand where I'm going with this, where I'm going with this is, I want you to understand, you can yell, you can scream, you can tear my things, but you never get the best of me. You never get the best of me. So what I'm saying today is that we have all experienced difficulty in our lives. And as it relates to the industry, people, unfortunately, it's not right, but everybody has a story about how they didn't get paid for this, they somebody took that, so on and so forth. It is what it is. And what I would say to Nicci, like I do for myself right now, is sometimes you got to play your cards closer to your chest, to your vest. This time around. See, I'm going somewhere, because see, this is my pep talk. I'm giving Nicci Gilbert a pep talk today, believe it or not. I'm giving you a pep talk. Maybe you did say it, and maybe you did do it. But you have to be mindful that as you're doing it, people out there are going to do it to you. What did I do? I don't know. But I'm saying, my mom has a saying. My mom would always say this, and I'm like, what is she? What does that mean? My mother would always say, growing up, and still would say, "Oh, you said something," is what my mother would say. You said something. I know. And this could be to anybody. You said something, even if you said she wore blue fingernail polish. You said something. I'm like, Mama, what are you talking about? Like, I just couldn't. That saying always goes over my head. Oh, you said something, even if you said she wore blue fingernail polish. You said something. So, what I'm going to say today, Nicci, oh, you did something, Nicci. You said something, even if it was she wore blue fingernail polish. Maybe you did say something in Brownstone to cause that lady to leave the group. I'm saying. Maybe what you said to go and Big Jim that day rubbed him the wrong way when you said you had Grammys. And maybe you just rubbed the executives over there wrong because of what you probably said to either the executives over there or to even maybe one of the castmates, because it is a cast. They're trying to get stories. You know what? Let me throw that out there and see how we can make this a scene or a storyline. And how can we keep this thing going? But we're dealing with real life people. And so I think I recall Nicci saying, well, I couldn't say anything. I couldn't say anything. That's major if she said, if I understand that correctly. But I couldn't say anything. And so here you are with this great album, by the way. Oh my God, such a great album. We're going to talk about the album. But here you are with this great album. Here you are with these Grammys. Here you are with these hit albums, hit singles. These ideas for shows and movies. Here you are with these things. And here you are fighting for your right to take legal actions. Here you are standing up for yourself. Here you are, Nicci, trying to reclaim your character or your reputation. Here you are trying to make sense of all of this stuff. And I'm not saying cut your loss. I'm not saying that at all. But I'm also saying sometimes you just got to let things be and let them play out for themselves. Sometimes I have a motto over here. And I had to learn this a long time ago, and I take it with me now. All the time. If I didn't break it, I don't fix it. I don't even try. I can see it's broken over there. And I'm like, I didn't break that. Huh? Oh, I know I can fix it, but I didn't break it. You did. You broke that. So what I would say today is take only accountability for your part of whatever it was. Whatever you did in the midst of all of that, only take your accountability for what it is you did. And when you take accountability for what you did, you ain't got to worry about anything else. Because, see, you said, or whoever wrote that song, that lyric, you can yell, you can scream, you can tear my things, but you never get the best of me. And that's what I want to talk about today, because the best of you What I'm focusing on is the fact of your creativity. You're a creative individual. And all I have to say is that keep creating. Continue. You can stop a little bit and kind of refocus if you want. But now you definitely know how the game is played. If you don't know anything else, you can say, I learned the hard lesson. I went through it. See, anybody, as I call it, can copy and paste anything. But it's one thing. Oh, I give it to you differently. Anybody can pick up a a book and read about some things, and then after a while, call themselves, well, I just know these things. I'm professional. I just know these things. But it's a whole nother thing to actually go through it and learn it and have to experience what it's like to actually know what it's like and go through it. You understand what I'm saying? You done been through that. Because people say, I got the t-shirt, I got the hat, I got the shoes, like been there, done that. So my thing is, if you wrote those songs, if you sang those songs, if you wrote those movie ideas and this, that, and the other, you got some more in you. Because as I listen to this album now, I'm like, I don't know. I don't follow Nicki's career like that, you know. But I'm saying to myself, I hope Nicki is somewhere singing these songs. I hope she is. I hope Nicki is somewhere singing. I heard it through yeah, grapevine and if you love me. I hope she's 5 miles too empty. I hope Nicki is somewhere singing those songs. I hope so. I hope she's on the stage somewhere saying, "What?" I hope she is. Because what I'm saying right now, I'm speaking to the talent that is Nicki Gilbert. I'm also speaking to the person that is Nicki Gilbert. And I'm like, Nicki, yeah, it's what it is. Like, even for me on the outside looking in, I'm like, well, I don't know, Nicki. Maybe you did do something to rub somebody the wrong way. And maybe what Selena was saying, maybe, you really did something. I don't know. But at this moment in time, I'm saying only be responsible and only fix your part. And I tell everybody, I didn't, I understand, but I didn't break that, so I can't fix that one. But I can fix what I broke. And what I know I can do is that I can go through this particular thing and I can learn this. And I also know that, you know what, I know I've been done wrong. And I understand what people say, what goes around comes around, but you did me wrong though. As Iyanla Van Zant would say. What she say? Fix my life or fix your life or whatever the case may be. That's the only part about it that I'd be concerned about. So as I say to anybody, especially if I'm with, I have two people in front of me and they're both going in, and I say the same thing I said to this one, I'm gonna say it to you. So I say the same thing to you as the same thing I would say to Selena, and I tell you both for you, both of you. At the end of the day, both of y'all were cast members. Did you think they wouldn't pin y'all together? At the end of the day. And I still want to know for the life of me, what's up with this album? Because everybody's talking about an album or the touring or this tour. And I'm saying to myself, like, isn't that probably why y'all would get on the show in the first place? That would have been great to have the tour and would have been great to have the album. Like, that's what people would want to do, especially, if I'm a fan of Monifa and I haven't heard any new Monifa tracks in a while. I'd be like, okay, man, that's an opportunity for me to hear Monifa, put out some new stuff. You see what I'm saying? It makes sense to the fans, but we understand that when it comes into the record company politics, everything is about ownership and money and how this is going to do for my career. Oh, what lineup you gonna be? Oh no, the popular person, the main act goes at the end. You ain't a main act, baby. Sit down somewhere and you be the first one out there on that stage because you only got one hit, if that really was a hit. You see what I'm saying? Y'all people know how it goes. Do you see where I'm going with this? Now, this album is such a great album. It is. As I said before, I tried to listen to it the first time and I just didn't finish. I think I got all the way to track 8 and then I stopped. I almost was 2 tracks too many. As I said, after you get after 12 tracks on an album, I'm like, oh Lord, why give me more than 12? So what I like about this album is, speaking of R&B divas, I'm getting a little bit of Celine Johnson on this album, or Selena Johnson on this album. I'm getting some Sparkle on this album. I probably got a little bit of Shaka Khan, definitely some Kelly Price, and some Faith Evans is on this album. But you know what? She also represented for the men on this album, because I got a little bit of R. Kelly. I think I got some Michael Jackson on this album, some D'Angelo on this album, maybe some 112 on this album. So she's definitely has a great mixture of songs on this album that I think could easily be placed on these previous acts that I mentioned albums as well. And as I said too, grown folks music, I can see why she wanted to call it grown folks music, because it's definitely grown folks music. But I definitely think we got this grown woman over here singing grown folks music. So the first track, Stop Messing Around, uh, doesn't quite sound like anyone that I could think of immediately, but Selena Johnson does comes to mind. And by the time I get to track 2, I'm hearing Sparkle and R. Kelly. And track 2, Woman in Need, is definitely my repeat track. I got a repeat track on this album. Like, this is the track. But then I get to track 3, Think Again, and I'm saying, ooh, there's R. Kelly again. But by the time I get to track 4, she slows it down, and I think she's influenced by Michael Jackson. This is a Michael Jackson track, Summer. It's definitely a Michael Jackson track. Can't Forget, track 5. It's by far my repeat. I love it. I love the song, and she's definitely sounding like she's having fun with it. And of course, we get to This Woman, a slow ballad. Rhythm and Blues kind of makes me feel like D'Angelo. Gray Skies is a ballad. It's okay. I can kind of do without Rhythm and Blues and Gray Skies. They're decent songs, but I don't necessarily have to listen to them. I'm definitely not like a D'Angelo fan, so that's probably another reason why. But we get to Hint of Love. It's a slow song that reminds me of someone, but I can't quite figure out who it's reminding me of. And the more I listen to it, I'm saying to myself, this is Bad Boy. This is Bad Boy. So, Hint of Love, who would sing this song? Total? Faith Evans? Is it 112? But Hint of Love is definitely in that Bad Boy category. Any 3 of those artists, I can see uh, uh, Sean Combs giving one of those artists this song. She'll Never, love it. It reminds me of Kelly Price. It's a Dave Hollister song, a duet. Uh, and She'll Never definitely sounds like Kelly Price. My Side of the Story, it's a repeat, 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 repeat. Love My Side of the Story. And again, I'm thinking Kelly Price. And then we get to I Got It Bad. I'm saying, with the things that the Osley brothers was doing at the time, I'm thinking this I Got It Bad could it be easily placed on an Osley Brothers album. And then, of course, Down With This is another favorite track of mine. Reminds me of Kelly Price. And as I said, you can yell, you can scream, you can tear my things, but you'll never get the best of me. And the final track, It Is What It Is. I'm like, possibly Shaka Khan. Is it a Shaka Khan song? Shaka Khan probably would do that song justice. I can see it. And so there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. You have Nicci Gilbert's album, Grown Folks Music. And I like it. It's a great album. Who knows? Maybe she'll get around to writing more. I would definitely like to think that out of all the things that Nicci Gilbert has gone through, she definitely has two things. She has another album in her with this particular experience she's gone through, and she definitely has another movie, so to speak, in her, or another film in her. Because see, she could take these experiences and the things that she's been through and say, "Hey, you know what? It is what it is." In the meantime, in between time, while I deal with what you probably done to me, I'm gonna do one better, and I'm gonna tell the story. I can write a script. I can do that. I've done it before, you know. So now this time when I'm doing it, I'm gonna play close to my vest. I'm gonna keep my cards. I'm not gonna expose them. You know what? And you know, I get it done. You know, I get there. You know, and I think it's just all about life. It's life experiences. I guess what I'm saying is, as far as grown folks and grown women, grown men are concerned, and sometimes, you know what, you just got to learn those lessons, you know. And sometimes it's not so much the lesson of learning um just life lessons in itself. It's also learning the lessons about how you interact with people and how you allow people to interact with you. Yeah, yeah, sometimes that can be the lesson. You know, like how are you allowing people to treat you, and how are you treating people, you know. But I believe in you, Nicci Gilbert. I think you're gonna do well. As I said, speaking from somebody who's a creative mind uh, himself, and I have to be mindful of how I get involved with people when it comes to those kinds of things, you know, so on and so forth. And so that's how I know. But I felt like I just needed to say this in a way in which you would get it. And I think the thing is that if in fact you wrote those songs, if in fact that's your voice that's coming out of your mouth singing those songs, if in fact you wrote those strips and all of that stuff, and you executive produced all those projects, so on and so forth, then you have the goods. And that's what I'm saying. So somebody somewhere probably yelled, somebody probably screamed at you. You know what I'm saying? They probably tore your things. But I'm here to tell you, Nicci, do not let it get the best of you, Nicci Gilbert. That's what I'm saying. So you done had some people yell at you. You done had some people scream at you. But don't let people get the best of you, Nicci Gilbert. That's what I'm trying to tell you, love. Don't let that happen. You know what? Put your big girl clothes on. You understand what I'm saying? And I hope to see you singing this album somewhere. I'm serious. I hope so, because this is a great album. Well, if you made it this far in my commentary, I think it's only appropriate for me to tell you to hit the like button, the subscribe button, the share button, leave a comment, do all of those things. You know, you hung out with me all the way up into this point. So obviously you like me. My motto over here is simple. Put your behind where your heart desires to be. And whenever whenever I leave my mother's presence, she always says to me, baby, remember I love you, but God loves you best. I look forward to seeing your next video. And until then, you should know what to do by now. Take care of you because you spend so much time taking care of everybody else. So take care of you. And that does not always mean just going out, getting your hair done, buying new clothes, buying homes, and all that stuff. Sometimes it's, you know what, I just got to take care of me. What about me? I need to take care of me. Whatever area in my life that I'm leaving behind or messing up or whatever the case may be, I got to go over here and take care of this because I ain't got time. All right. See you next video.